Meltdown presents The Disney Click with Rick and Briers. This podcast is sponsored by Meltdown Comics and Collectibles in Hollywood, California. Find Meltdown on meltcomics.com and comicsfix.com. Comicsfix.com, your only online subscription comic book service.
Hey guys, it's Rick.
And Briers.
And welcome to our very first episode of the Disney Click. We're happy to be here.
Yes, excited.
So today we're getting into a few segments here. We're going to talk a little bit about some theme park attractions at Disneyland for the Disney list. We're going to do a little bit of conversation on Inside Out, underrated, overrated segment, talking about live-action Disney movies from the past 20 years. And we're going to finish it up with some Disney rumors and speculation. You ready to get started?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So the first segment is the Disney list. This is something weekly. We choose 5, 10, whatever the heck we want to talk about. And this week is going to be top 5 favorite Disneyland attractions. How do you define attractions, Briers?
I would define an attraction, I guess, by anything you have to wait in line to experience. And so it doesn't have to be a ride that you get on. It could be a show or Animation Academy.
Okay.
One of my favorites.
All right. Well, I should say that Briers and I have not talked about our choices, so we could have the same exact thing. We could be entirely different. Briers could get on me for thinking that I like something that she thinks is horrible.
Will.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she does that. And we're just gonna have fun with this, and we want you guys to chime in. So if you have any opinions, talk to us at Twitter at the Disney Click.
Yeah, definitely tweet us your opinions. If you agree with us, disagree, we can take it.
Okay, but we know I'll be a little more right than Briers, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that, Rick.
Okay. All right. Anyway, why don't you start us off with number 5?
Okay, and yeah, we're counting down or counting up to the number 1, our favorite. So this is ranked. It was hard for me.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Just want to clarify that all 5 of my 5 on any given day, depending on the weather and if I want to ride a water ride, it could be different.
Oh, that's a little bit of a cop-out there. Stand by your decision, okay?
But no, I'm fully committed to my decision.
Okay.
Just want to also say this would be an 80-degree day.
Okay. Well, that's good, because I'm not as committed to my decisions. So,
okay.
I'm contradicting what I just said.
So
Go ahead.
Coming in at number 5, drum roll please, a classic, an original, one that Walt was involved with, is Pirates of the Caribbean. Be my number 5.
Very nice. That I will tell you, that's on my list.
Okay.
Not at number 5 though. So, and what do you like about it so much?
Oh goodness, what's not to love about Pirates? It was made into, I was going to say a good franchise. It was made into a great first film, and I have a weird love of the water, the smell of the ride. This is bizarre, but I really like the smell of Pirates. I also love, especially at Disneyland, and since we're ranking just in the Disneyland park.
To be clear, this is Disneyland Park, not California Adventure, not Disney World.
We're limited.
Yes.
But it was still hard. There's the Blue Bayou restaurant, which I think it adds to the experience of the ride to go by and see people dining, and you really feel like you're outside at night, but you're inside. I love the drops. And it's a little different than World. It's
better than World.
I don't know if I agree.
How can you not?
My problem now is I've ridden the Disneyland one more often, especially recently, so it's fresh in my mind.
Go back to Disney World and ride it, and then let me know.
I'm gonna follow through and let you know my new opinion.
Let me know. Well, we will get back to the Pirates of the Caribbean because it is on my list, but not at number 5. Number 5 for me is the Tiki Room, the Enchanted Tiki Room, I should say, Right. So this is a nostalgia pick here.
Woo!
This is a nostalgia pick. I know it's not flashy. I know you can go to your local Chuck E. Cheese and probably see the animatronics. I understand. But what it is quintessential Disneyland. Walt has his hand in this. It is technologically ahead of its time and was amazing.
Was technologically
you're right.
ahead of its time. It's
You're
now
right.
technologically stunted. It's stuck in time.
But when I
It's
walk,
like if you want to go back in time, you can experience.
Well, but that's part of the charm. I walk into that staging area where they have all those Tiki gods and that little show, and I'm kind of taken back to what I envision Walt's Park to be, or a big part of it, and it's just very cool to be there and see, the god of thunder or rain or fire or whatever there, and then to walk in that air-conditioned room, I will say, on a very hot day, it's quite nice, and you kind of sit there and you don't want to close your eyes because you want to see what's going on, but you can kind of sense the Disney of yesteryear, and I think that's really cool.
I respect that. I love where it's coming from, where it's hitting.
Here.
Oh, a huge butt.
Yeah.
The Tiki Room would be on my top 5 worst attractions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the attraction. I find it really boring, and I've ridden it not ridden it. It's not a ride. It's an experience. It is an attraction. It does fit the criteria, but I find it really boring and stuck in. But it's interesting you have the nostalgia point, and it wasn't a newer ride, or it wasn't one when I was younger that, we went on it, but there wasn't that same nostalgia. I don't know. So it's interesting where it's hitting for you, whereas I think it was where my parents were like, yeah, let's take an air conditioning break and you have to ride it, and it was like maybe it was a punishment, and that's why I have like really negative.
I didn't want to go on it over and over and over again, but I'll say,
oh my gosh,
now it just, it's the nostalgia
like
factor, and that means something to me. Now, a lot of the other ones on my top 5 hit that nostalgia in the bullseye as well.
Okay,
but this one to me was one that just screams
surprised.
Disneyland to me. So
wow.
it's there for me.
Do you like the Dole Whip ice cream thing?
It's not like
in
Disney World. My understanding, they have an orange kind of Dole Whip, so it's orange and cream, and that's like the creamsicle thing I would love. The Dole Whip to me, it's okay, it's fine.
I think
but
it's neat how it has its own fan
following,
base and
yeah.
T-shirts made specifically for it.
Right.
And the line is always, every time I go with people that aren't big Disney fans,
right.
like, what is that line for? I'm like, it's for this Dole Whip thing.
Everybody says
you
go on the
believe
inside.
It.
For the line, you go on the inside to
actually ride the ride. You mean?
No. There's 2 sides to the concession stand, and if you go to the inside of the ride, the line is much shorter. But that's
how they trap you. They use the Dole Whip to get you on the ride.
All right.
This is all...
Hey, Walt is spinning in his grave right now because you're putting down
I think if Walt had to rank his top 5 attractions that he was creating, I don't think he'd put the Tiki Room up there.
Well,
I think he'd
next
put
time
Pirates.
You can channel the dead. Let me know, and we'll ask him. Okay. And I think
I'm working on that.
All right. Let's go to number 4. Go ahead.
I like that one. Okay, 4. You might be surprised that it's this low, but again, they're all so good. Space Mountain at 4.
I had a real hard time leaving Space Mountain off my list. I love the ride. I love the ride. You tell me why Space Mountain, and I'll talk about it after.
I mean, I think anyone that's old enough or tall enough to ride the ride isn't going to go into the Disneyland park without riding Space Mountain. And that's why the line is always 60 plus minutes.
Yeah.
But we have fast passes. So just fast pass it first thing.
Yeah, you can't get there like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a busy day. You're out of luck.
No,
I've tried many a times.
And even I've stayed past or up till midnight, and it's still the longest line.
Yeah.
When at World, I was there till 3 a.m. and it did not slow down.
Yeah.
Because it's what everyone wants to do, but it's popular for a reason because it is a great ride.
Right.
It's a dark ride. They've made it darker, so they've kind of upped the ante of how good it is.
The sound system is really good too. They updated the sound system several years back. It really is a good ride, by the way. I struggled with this and another ride or attraction that I know is going to be on your list.
That Tiki Room had to get on there, though. Got to make sacrifices for the birds.
I understand, but I will say that it's a lot of fun, and it's I don't get to ride it too much with my kids because the line's too long, and my kids are kind of afraid of it right now. I'm hoping that'll change someday.
You will.
I'm hoping.
It'll be there.
But I do love Space Mountain, and that was one of the hardest ones to leave off this list. So I'm giving you the thumbs up on Space Mountain. I can't
Thank you.
I can't
You, I mean,
I can't make
who
fun
could
of you for
argue
that
it?
one. I'm sure there are people.
Someone who's afraid of the dark.
People who have
maybe.
motion sickness might be,
That's true.
my son and daughter would argue against you. So just saying. My number 4 is one of the newer attractions, perhaps the newest e-ticket in Disneyland, and that would be Indiana Jones.
Great choice.
I love the ride. I think it's good for everybody. I don't think there's no big drops. Atmospherically, it's awesome. They have sometimes a hard time keeping it in perfect working order. I think there's so many
I've
moving
noticed
parts,
that.
right? It's down a lot.
Yeah.
But that said, it's just such a near perfect experience with the cue
music,
theming, the
the
music, the everybody laughs when they're coming off. That's a good sign. When everybody's like laughing hysterically coming off a ride, it really is a ton of fun for me. And that's another ride that I don't get. I would ride that every time I go to Disneyland if I could. If the line wasn't so long, if I didn't have certain people pulling me in different directions, I would be on that every time.
And that's not a bad line, weirdly. That's a good line. And because you go into air conditioning for the last 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And let's not downplay. Air conditioning is very important. Well, if you're pulling a 14-hour day in the park.
In Disney World, it's even more important.
Oh, yeah.
Disneyland is a little bit more moderate, but it still gets very hot and very crowded. And it's sad because sometimes you're at Disneyland and you're like, let's get in a line to get away from the crowds. That's kind of a sad state of affairs, especially for that section of the park. It's a bit of a bottleneck.
Yeah, and it's smaller, especially if you've come from Disney California Adventure. You instantly get to that land, and you feel the people spilling Dole Whip on you.
Yeah. All right, so number 3.
My number 3 is classic. I believe it was one of the originals. Now you might have to fact check me. Thunder Mountain.
Not one of the originals.
Yeah, as I said it, I was like, I don't think. But yeah, Thunder Mountain. It was an original.
1979.
It was born before I was. It was built before I was born. So it's an original for my lifetime.
New to you, right?
And I have a lot of nostalgia memories. That's one that I specifically remember being really scared to ride and riding with my dad and him shouting throughout the ride, piece of cake, piece of cake. And I remember like, this is a piece of cake. This is easy. This is fun. And just having so much fun. And it's a good length for a roller coaster. And for that, the age it caters to, I don't know.
It's long enough.
Anyone can go on it.
It's not long enough to get you really motion sick. You're not like get me off. By the time you're just about the point, well, maybe it's time to get off. It's over. Mm-hmm. And it's I will say once again, it's on my list. So I don't want to get too much into it.
And they've updated it exceptionally.
Yes.
Go at night.
Yeah.
Go at night.
I love it at night.
That's all we'll say.
I will say that most of these rides I prefer at night. Most of the outdoor rides I actually prefer at night.
Disney at Ride is an entirely different park.
For sure.
It's a different experience.
For sure. I have a love for
anyone that
Disney
leaves
at
before
night.
The sun goes down.
Well, some people have
other priorities.
Kids, younger kids who are having meltdowns and they need to be. It takes away the enjoyment.
Get a babysitter.
Okay.
Stay.
My number 3 is Pirates of the Caribbean, which we talked about earlier. It's funny you said about the smell. Feel the same exact way. I walk in there and I felt that. I smell that, and it's like, I
feel like people
here.
think I'm making it up, but it's genuinely if I could make that into a perfume,
like
I would mist it in my home.
Okay,
it's the best.
All right, well, you're a little crazy for that, but I do like it.
I think because it takes me back to the memories. It's sense memory. It's immediate.
I'm with you. I love the smell. I love the detail that's in that ride. It feels so big to me, especially considering. It was built opened in 1967, and if you think about the time for what they did, it was just so ahead of its time and amazing. And I know they've done some updates, but it really is essentially the same ride that it was then. I love the little drops, and it just adds a little tiny thrill to it. And that scene it establishes in the cave, which is awesome, and then you go into that big boat battle, and it just looks so big to me.
Yeah, you feel like it's nighttime when it's daytime, or you're outside the entire time. And they have maintained that to counterpoint the Indiana Jones ride that does struggle with some malfunctions. The Pirates, I don't notice as much malfunction when riding it.
Yeah, it's
really well kept.
Not very scientific, but I tend to feel that way too.
I don't know. We're just going off our mood.
Right. Right. But so
Johnny Depp's always popping out
I-
and looking
I'm in
like
agreement
Johnny
with
Depp.
you on that. That we're in agreement, and which is not always a rare thing here. So, right,
Nice.
right, okay, it's nice.
Feels
Okay.
nice.
Let's go on to number 2.
Number 2, a repeat of yours, Indiana Jones Adventure. I love it, and I love that it's only at Disneyland. And if they ever built it at World, I wouldn't want that, because I think it's neat to have attractions that are unique to Disneyland that no one can experience on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Sounds so selfish. Only over here.
That's right.
But it's so well done, and you can tell that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were involved. It feels like they, jumped right out of the movie. And again, like Johnny Depp, Harrison Ford is with you on the ride, talking to you.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I've already said my piece on that. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. Number 2 for me is Big Thunder Mountain. So as we've said before, that's another ride that takes me back to when I went to Disney World for the first time, and to me, it just transports me back. It says I'm at Disney, and I think it's not too scary. I think it's super well themed, and it's a lot of fun without being too much. It's really something for everybody. It just sets a mood for me that very few other rides or attractions do at Disney World or Disneyland.
Yeah.
So, and I want to remind that I have no idea what her number 1 is, although I can
know.
guess.
Well,
I can
now
guess.
I feel like we have the same one, which would be
I don't think we
kinda
do.
crazy. Okay.
Maybe we do. Maybe we do.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
Okay, maybe we do. I think I know what yours is. Not the same one. So
Okay.
why don't you
I'm
go?
thinking of
Can I-
what
can
I've
I-
left
can
off.
I guess it?
Actually.
Can I guess?
And then I'll guess yours.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I think you'll guess mine, but I think I can guess yours.
Okay.
Are you Splash Mountain?
Yes.
All right, go. Number 1 for him.
So Splash
for
Mountain is
Briers.
not on yours.
No, that was the other one that was really hard for me to keep off.
That's offensive, because it's my number 1, because it's
Sorry,
the
Briers.
best.
I
Again,
tried,
I'm there on an 80-degree day. But
I love
would
Splash
do
Mountain.
it in the
I love
cold.
Splash Mountain. Just
It's
to be
hard
clear.
to get people to go on it. Okay.
So why Splash Mountain?
Why not Splash Mountain? Where to start? Okay, it's a great length of ride. I think it's a 10 or 11 minute ride, which might be one of the longer ones. So you really settle into it. And the whole time, I remember, especially as a child, riding it, and I still have that feeling, it's weirdly relaxing, but you know that there's this big moment at the end. So you're going to have this drop, but you're like, oh, there's all these like furry bunnies like smiling at me, but I'm going to go down this drop and get splashed with water, and am I going to get really splashed? And also, one of the things I love about Splash Mountain at Disneyland is the single file log, which is a little more like an actual log of a tree, whereas at World you sit two to a row.
A lot of people like Walt Disney World's Splash Mountain better than Disneyland, by the way. I see that a lot on the online community, that people seem to prefer Disney World. I don't get it. I like both of them, but
yeah, no, that's interesting. And again, I haven't done the World one now in 5 years, which is sad. But I'll do it again in a few months here, and I'll have renewed comparisons. I think they do. They stand together.
Yeah, 4 years ago. 4 years ago is when we were last at Disney World, and we were there. It was like a magic night in the park where it was like open till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. And so myself, Terri, my brother-in-law, and sister rode Splash Mountain probably 10 times without getting off.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
It was fun.
When I stayed late at New Year's, it's the same. So it's funny how Space Mountain suddenly the line continues, but for Splash,
because people don't want to get wet.
Yeah, they don't want to get wet after dark and be cold going back to their hotel. But yeah, the guy was like, "Stay in your log, and that's one. I mean, there are very few rides that I would want to sit on that many times, just back to back to back, and not get tired. And because it's such a long ride, and you settle into it, and there's so much to see, and it's got a great pacing and great views of the park. I mean,
and I will
flawless.
say,
It's kind of a number one kind of ride.
And I will add one more thing to that is, in my experience, you don't get as wet as people think you do on the ride. I know you can get a little splash, but
no, it's not bad.
It's not really.
Your socks.
You can do it in the winter, and if it's open, and be okay. Whereas like Grizzly River Rapids or River Rapids, whatever, you don't want to get on that, right? Mm-hmm. When it's cold out, you don't want to go on those. So, all right. So my number one. What do you think it is?
Star Tours.
No, I'm disappointed in you.
Well, what am I not thinking
so
of?
disappointed in you.
So you don't like Star Tours?
I do like Star Tours, but there's a little bit of emotion issue with it.
See, this is a Walt Disney Worlder in me forgetting it.
Oh, what? I don't think so. No.
Never mind.
All right,
I'm
gonna take you off the hook,
Yeah,
and then
please.
you're gonna hit yourself in the head. Like, what was I thinking? The Haunted Mansion is my number one.
Oh, see, no, I had no idea.
Really?
You
well,
had that much.
I overestimated you once again.
Nostalgia.
Huh? I love the Haunted Mansion. It's not a nostalgia to me. That's a great ride. Period.
It is.
It really once again similar to Pirates. It really employs a lot of tricks that were way ahead of its time, and the stretching room alone is genius. I love how they do that. The atmosphere they set in that is incredible. The various things that are going on in that ride. Not to mention, come Halloween and Christmas time, they change it at Disneyland into the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Which is only at
ride.
Disneyland.
Yes, only at Disneyland.
I think Tokyo Disney.
Yeah,
does
I think somewhere else.
Well.
I'm not sure,
but not World.
Correct, but that alone. Look, I love the original. But the Nightmare Before Christmas ride is a really nice change. It comes a little more colorful, but you still feel like you're in the Haunted Mansion. You still feel like you're in the Haunted Mansion.
So did you make it number one because it's like a 2-in-1 ride with the Christmas? Halloween and Christmas?
When I was young, when I was first in Disney, I can't remember exactly, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around that age, I was terrified to go to the Haunted Mansion. And finally, at the urging of my family, I went on. They could not get me off the ride. After a while,
it's interesting that it's the ride that terrified you the most, because I would say that
before entering, it terrified. Once I was on, it was fine.
Splash Mountain was the one I had the most fear about.
Okay,
look at that.
Right, see,
little connection.
Yeah. So
definitely.
And I will also admit to another connection, the Haunted Mansion, it's kind of my daughter and my bonding ride. It's the ride that she loves, that I love, that I take her on, and it's a very special ride to me in that way. So it's a little bit unfair because I'm playing emotionally connected to it, not only for me, but I've now somehow passed it on to my daughter who loves
neat.
it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's
and it has a really good hidden Mickey in the hall with the ghost at the dinner with the plate and the 2 saucers make the ears.
Yes.
And that's one that it's easy to point out to people that don't really understand the hidden Mickey phenomenon, and you show them that and a light bulb goes off.
Right.
And it's always there.
Right.
Because some of them they'll take away and put back.
So those are our that's the Disney list, top 5. If you have your opinions or questions, or you want to have it be known, you let us know. Twitter at the Disney Click.
And you can use the hashtag top 5 Disney Click. And every time we do a top 5 countdown, we'll bring back that hashtag. We'd love to know your own top 5 or
what is that hashtag
your
one more time?
Top 5 Disney Click.
Right. And Twitter at the Disney Click.
Okay, now we're going to do a movie review segment on a more recent film that just came out a few weeks ago. Inside Out, the newest from a fledgling studio, a new studio that you might have heard of. No, I'm kidding. Pixar Animation Studios. And this is the first Pixar film in 2 years, which is really astounding. And I'm a big
Briers was very angry about that in our discussions.
2014 was a really hard year for me.
And the past few Pixar films, I think it's a topic for a different day, but you didn't love a lot of the last few Pixars. No,
I get that's kind of everyone's view. Yes and no. I loved Monsters U. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I loved Monsters
I enjoyed it. Okay, so you go at it. What do you think?
Inside the head of an 11-year-old girl. So I will say I had massively high expectations. 2 years of expectations. Let's just put that out there. And Pete Docter is the director, who also directed Up, which everyone, I think anyone who likes Pixar or films, that the opening of Up is so astounding and stands out in cinematic history, really. It's put up there with other love stories, which is amazing. So I had high expectations, and I
overrated Up, by the way, but it's a different story.
Okay, well, overrated. Interesting. So I got tickets with a friend to an early screening. Even I saw it the Tuesday or Wednesday before it even premiered nationwide. Saw an early screening with a peek at Pixar, which was fascinating and just reassured me that I need to get a job at Pixar because they're doing it right. It's just looks like a joyful place to work. No pun intended. Joy. It's a character in the film. So I was a little disappointed. I still really liked the film. But the best way for me to express it is like how I would rank it in the 15 Pixar films, and it kind of falls right down the middle. It slices right down the middle at about 7th place. And I would have liked it to have been top 3 or top 5.
Yeah, let me just jump in for a minute and say that I wholeheartedly agree with you. I was set up to think this was going to be a top 3 Pixar film.
Mm-hmm.
And generally how I feel about movies, I like to see them early on because I don't like the expectations or what other people are saying to seep into me, and they kind of raise the bar too high.
It did.
And this was a perfect example of that. I really liked the film. I really did like the film, and it spoke to me on a lot of levels, and perhaps what I'm going through with my daughter as well. That said, it just wasn't the second coming of Pixar. It just didn't feel that way. There's a lot of elements I liked that I can talk about in a little bit, but yeah, I felt a little bit. I liked it, but not everything I thought it was going to be.
But I think it's interesting too. I think we automatically hold Pixar. It's like a reverse Disney, where I think, oh, everything that's Disney is good, but we hold Pixar to this weird standard almost that everything has to be amazing, And
we were talking earlier with one of our producers about that same idea with Star Wars, that we have an expectation for Star Wars that it's going to be as good as the new one is going to be as good as Empire Strikes Back. So it really is everywhere. How our expectations really play into how we see a film, and Inside Out seems to be a good example for both of us.
Mm-hmm. And I really was frustrated, and I think maybe this is part of living in Hollywood or Los Angeles, but I felt overexposure on the advertisements. I'd seen it too much. I'd seen we were sitting there, they didn't play your typical advertisements. They played little blurbs of each of the emotions, saying like a line from the movie, and my friend and I were like plugging our ears, saying, please stop talking, like you want to just experience it. That's what I love about J.J. Abrams and his movies. He keeps it a secret.
Right. Well, one thing that I loved about Inside Out or the marketing for Inside Out is they kept Bing Bong secret. Now, I have an admission here. I liked Bing Bong, and I thought he had the most emotional, poignant part of the movie that got to me the most. But that said, the character in and of itself was fine, but I wasn't over the moon about him, which sounds odd because he's a pivotal scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much we want to spoil for those who haven't seen it, but
and I love that they kept him a secret.
Yes,
I just read something about that and how they let the voice actor know that, and he was a little hurt he didn't get to go to Cannes with the rest of the cast, which I can completely relate to how that must have felt.
Right.
Not that I've gotten left out of Cannes before, but it was keeping that character secret was so special. It's interesting. So, full disclosure, I've actually seen the film twice because I just needed to see it again. I just wanted to experience it again. And there is a great deal of humor. So many little small one-liners that are almost under the character's breath that you don't hear, that I feel like you miss just once through quickly. And you're just so excited for the film with our high expectations. But Bing Bong the second time through hit me more emotionally, and you don't know this, but when having seen it already the second time, the character Riley, the girl whose head you're inside, seeing her voices, you see her as a infant drawing on the wall, and the second time through you notice she's literally drawing Bing Bong. So it's that second time, just a detail like that hits you, that this character is already there in that child. He's there in her childhood.
Right. And I should add that perhaps unfairly, instantly hearing Bing Bong's voice, I could tell was Richard Kind. And I don't know whether that took me out a little bit of it.
Do you like him as a voice actor?
He's nice, but I identified him. I could instantly put the face of Richard Kind onto Bing Bong, so that maybe took me out of it a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because
do you know what other major Pixar film he did a voice in?
Well, I mean, I know he was in Spin Cities and Gotham and what other.
We're talking Pixar.
I understand. I'm not. As soon as you say, I'd be like, oh yeah, but I can't.
Well, you might not because this is a film that people don't often appreciate as much.
It's going to be Meet the Robinsons or
Underappreciated.
something?
No, it's a
Okay.
Pixar film and a pretty big part in it.
Oh, is it a Bug's Life?
Yes, he was Molt, Hopper's brother,
Okay.
who's hilarious. Hopper literally says, "If I didn't promise Mother on my deathbed, I'd kill you."
Okay.
And he does, and they're very different characters. And I thought he did the voice exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And he said that he really got emotional during the emotional scenes that we will save for our viewers, because
Okay.
go out and see Inside Out, even though it's doing very well.
And we'll give them a few more months before we start ruining things right now. So
no spoilers yet.
You know, we haven't. Maybe later on there'll be spoilers in different movies, but we'll leave Inside Out alone in terms of spoiler territory.
But it sounds like we had a similar
yeah.
experience, really high expectations, and then I think that the plot just it lulled in a few points. I don't know. That was my biggest complaint.
It kept it simple. It was a very simple. It really was about the adventure in the head, and so the outside life was almost mundane. I mean, I know she had this big move to a different city, but it really was a simple plot, and I was okay with that. I also loved the fact that you know that in Disney movies, whether it be the fairy tales of Snow White or Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, or whatever, their tragedy, you know, and even Toy Story, I believe Andy's mom might be a single mother or whatever, that they're disrupted families. This was a very loving, together family going through.
She's an only child, though.
Well, that's true, but an only child. There's a lot of people only children out there. I mean, they were just a normal family with the crisis of moving. That's all there was, and I really appreciated that, because if you go through the story of all the Disney movies out there, you don't get that very often, and that was nice to see.
You liked
I like the simplicity of it. I think that's different than the lull you're talking about, but I think it really made inside Riley's head feel a lot more exciting in action, because outside it was like these normal everyday things that are happening, but how much turmoil is going inside the head. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Preteen girl.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, I thought it was a nice touch, and as I said, I want to be sure that I like the movie. It was about expectations. It really felt like it was
too high of expectations.
Yeah, I think we were just bombarded with all these great things.
It's not your fault, Pixar. It's us.
It's marketing. Pixar's marketing fault, but
no, not Pixar's fault.
Okay.
I mean, I think they definitely. It's where we live.
God
too.
forbid we blame Pixar.
If we're gonna talk about over marketing. Talk about those yellow little minion people.
Yeah, well,
that's over marketing.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I feel like a minion has been almost stuck in my eye.
Yeah, you look a little
the
yellow.
Hollywood Bowl, or not the Hollywood Bowl, the ArcLight. How they literally, have you seen it?
No, I have not seen it.
They covered it in a yellow tint with giant minions climbing on it.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
If you like minions,
not
it's
so
cute.
much. Well, it's not Disney, so you know.
Yeah, if they'd had the emotions climbing, I'm like, that is so charming. It's like Riley's head,
right,
on the ArcLight.
Right, very nice. So anyway, I think we'd recommend it, but lower expectations a little bit, right?
Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So the next thing we're talking about is underrated, overrated, and this is a segment where we pick certain things in categories to talk about. It could be one thing, it could be a few things. And today's topic we've chosen is underrated, overrated live-action Disney movies from the past 20 years. And I think we have a few to discuss. I'll let Briers start us off.
Okay, let's start with overrated, because I guess that's a little more negative. My choice for a film in the last 15, 20 years, live action film that I felt was overrated, was pretty recent. It was the live action Cinderella that was just released this year. And it kind of, to go back briefly to our Inside Out discussion, it was overhyped again. I feel like they just set it up as the next coming of, I don't know, Disney almost. It was so, and I mean, Cinderella is the most iconic princess. It's her castle at Walt Disney World. I gotta give her a little credit, but they just didn't. My biggest complaint, I mean, I saw the film almost opening day or opening weekend. They just didn't bring anything different to the story of Cinderella. There's the film Ever After with Drew Barrymore that's so good, and they bring in all these. It's a twist on it. Even the Hilary Duff one that's terrible, and a Disney film that's not a good movie, still just takes a different take on it, and you got to give them credit for doing something different. And this, except for incredible costumes,
yes, I
an
agree with
amazing cast, Kate Blanchett, and I mean, it's beautiful visually.
I was surprised that my family, my youngest, sat through it and wasn't bored. It was pretty slow. It was visually stunning, but it was slow. It was slow, and
It was.
and I can appreciate that if I'm drawn into the drama or the intensity. But you kind of know where the story is, so it's really up to the filmmaker, to set a certain tension to it that it didn't quite have. I agree with you. I think it was overrated. Not a bad movie. Not a bad movie. But I did
like
think it was
Helena
overrated.
Bonham Carter
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
When she came on,
She wasn't in it
was
that long.
I know.
Right.
I was like, can we
have
do
more
like a
of her?
side story on the fairy godmother? 'Cause she's great.
Yeah.
And she sang over the credits, Bippity Boppity Boo. And I was like, wait, this should have been a musical. That's so much more lively and fun. It's like they just kind of took one note and ran with it and
Right.
didn't.
Right.
So
I mean, I appreciate
let
what they
down.
did, but I appreciate what they tried to do, and I don't think it has to do with fatigue of them doing live action films.
It's the beginning of a resurgence, I feel like.
Which brings me into my overrated film that I feel is another recent one, is Maleficent. I thought Angelina Jolie was really pitch perfect as Maleficent. And I thought it was a very gorgeous film. My issue with it, however, was, and maybe it's a personal thing, as all these are, that it was they took the meanness out of the main character. It really was trying to make you sympathize for her, and I wanted her just to be bad. And I kind of knew going in that
That's
she
a
was
Disney thing, probably.
Yeah, I guess so. But why couldn't she just be bad? I was okay watching a story of somebody being bad and why they're bad. I'm okay with their motivation and watch them, see how they were turned into this bad person. But I really wanted her to stay evil.
So she transforms into a kinder version. I have not seen Maleficent. The trailer I found boring, and I thought if I couldn't get through the trailer, I just was not interested. It didn't pique my interest enough, and I'm not a Sleeping Beauty fan.
Briers will eventually go see it, I think. I'm not saying it's worth seeing.
If I get a copy for
it's
free.
Worth seeing. Oh, well, there's this thing called Redbox,
It's not free.
Oh, it's true. But anyway, I really thought it was, my disappointment simply was what they did to the character, how they kind of just made her a little softer. That's not what I wanted.
It wasn't as one note though as Cinderella, kind of.
I liked it. I liked it better than Cinderella.
Okay.
I liked it better than Cinderella. I will say that I was more entertained by it, but it was not. My issue with it making it a bit overrated was what they did to the character, the script.
Are you a big Sleeping Beauty fan?
I like Disney villains, and Maleficent is one of the more iconic. Like, she just has a distinct look about her that just screams evil. Yeah, it's just, she's an awesome looking.
And they added the wings, correct?
Well,
that's not in the.
Well, they cut them off, which is part of the reason why she turns back. That's a little big part of her backstory. So
spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean at this point,
For
if you
those
haven't seen it, sorry,
like
you should have said that, right?
So
it's that's my overrated. Not a bad movie. Better than Cinderella, I thought, but not as good as perhaps the box office or people have you believe, in my opinion.
Okay, so now I'm going to do my underrated film. And this is one that when I say it, people might say, I don't even know, is that underrated? Everyone loves that, but I think I chose it because it's a film that it can never be overrated. It's so solid in what a good film it is. And that is Remember the Titans. Classic.
A good film.
A throwback. A great film. And it laid the groundwork. It was interesting as I was looking at the list of live action films that Disney's made. It was the first one that was this formula of a true story with a strong, they need to bring in some female leads for these sports films, but a strong male lead who, a ragtag story of sportsmanship in high school and turning it around, that, you have the Rookie and Miracle and Glory Road.
I'm going to butcher her name, but that was Hayden Panettiere. Is that how you say her name? Who she's in Nashville now?
I don't want to say. I think you said it pretty well.
That's okay. We can embarrass ourselves here. But I believe that she was in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
And she was
so
like
good in
the girl wise beyond her years. And that's really what made her, I think, known to a lot of people. And she was
that was her breakout role for sure.
Denzel Washington, right?
Denzel Washington in it is it's an Oscar-worthy performance. And people have argued that he should have gotten an Oscar nomination. And I think there's, again, the Disney name.
You think he was hurt by it, right?
Yeah, I think the fact that it was a Disney film made it seem like a cheesier film. But you watch it, and it's as good as any drama, any classic dramatic film. It's so well acted. Every single player is cast so well. There's they handle the emotional points all throughout, but especially the death of the one character. It's been out a few years.
What,
if you haven't
15 years
seen
ago
it,
or something like that. So
spoiler alert.
Yeah, you're okay on this one.
Yeah. Go to a Redbox. I don't even know where you would get. You should get it on iTunes. I used to.
Yeah, it's not streaming, I don't think, at this point on Netflix or anything. But I'm sure it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, but I agree that actually would be my underrated film, which I don't know how we qualified as underrated because I think at the time it did well.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think people maybe forget that it's Disney or it's still not.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like a Disney film.
It should be on every sports list of best sports films because it's outstanding. There's so many lines and there's so many moments. It's the story it tells about. Yeah, there's so many civil rights films that come off as like cheesy, and it doesn't at all.
Right.
It feels so like real. You're there, you're with them, and experiencing it. If you haven't ever seen it, get yourself on iTunes and buy it, or I think it's at Target probably.
All right, on to the next. So the next thing we're going under is Disney rumor. Now, this is an area of the podcast where we talk about things that aren't really out there officially. They haven't been, blogged about or talked about by Disney corporate saying this is happening, but there are rumblings. Some of them are more true than others. Some of them are just kind of fun to talk about. And today, I think Briers is going to talk a little bit about the ongoings in Disney World Hollywood Studios. What's going on down there?
Yes. Okay, so Disney Hollywood Studios, formerly known as MGM, for all the fans that know it, I still like to call it MGM, is kind of going through an overhaul and a lot of changes, but Disney is not releasing exactly what those are, so it's all very speculative right now. And the main thing, we do know for sure the closures that have happened. So the American Idol experience closed last summer.
Good riddance.
I actually really enjoyed the American Idol experience. It was fun and you know what they want.
You can admit it was ready. It was time for it to go, right?
Maybe they could have kept it. Isn't there one more season of American Idol? They could have kept it and closed it with American Idol.
I guess
yeah,
so.
I mean, I guess if I really think about it, it shouldn't stay forever. It's not permanent, but it was fun to vote on someone in the park and have them get the fast ticket to the front of the line. The Backlot Tour, which opened in 1989, a classic, so fun. I have really fond memories of that ride. That closed last fall as well. The American Film Institute Showcase at the end of the Backlot Tour closed, which is sad to see that, but maybe not for people that don't like films. Mickey's Sorcerer hat was removed. Did you?
I frankly
could care less.
Well, no, I'm happy. I'm happy it's gone. I think that the park was built to have the Man's Chinese replica as the centerpiece, and that just simply blocked the view to that theater. So I was happy to see it go.
It became the symbol for the park.
Yeah.
Which I like the water tower.
Yeah.
And that was the symbol.
Yeah, the water tower's still there. No, is it gone? It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah. But it's but there's a centerpiece.
The hat felt cheesy. The hands coming out.
Yeah, and we have opinions. I think you know, without I don't want to switch you off your thing, but you really love the Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World, and
yes.
I love some attractions in there, but the park as a whole is definitely not my favorite. So,
and I think overall it's not many people, and that makes me sad. It's a little underrated as a park, but that's why I'm very excited about these changes because I think hopefully they're going to amp up the park and take it to the next level.
What are they rumored to have coming in?
So the rumors, got a few rumors. The first rumor is that a major Star Wars overhaul will be happening in the area of Echo Lake, where the Star Tours ride already exists, and that would be perfect. It's the film park, and to have to feature Star Wars, and now that they own Star Wars and with the new films, I think it fits perfectly. Does that excite you? Would you like the park a little
Yes,
bit more?
I will. Trust me. If they do anything big, I will like the park better. Don't take out Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster,
never.
and we're good.
Okay. And then a second rumor is that they are doing an expansion of Pixar Place, which right now holds Toy Story Mania, and or a possible addition of Cars Land, which I do not like the idea of that, because I think Cars Land should stay especially in Disney California Adventure.
I agree. It's a great land, and a topic for another podcast, but I would like to see it stay in Disneyland. So,
yeah,
but
so
I am excited about the
that's
Star
just
Wars.
a
If it's true.
rumor.
I would love the Star Wars, and the Pixar has a place.
You can expand Pixar.
Yeah.
You know, you could do so many other Finding Nemo
sure.
or Monsters. Do a Monsters University section, but Cars Land belongs.
Yeah, and the park needs it.
California Adventure.
I mean, the park, the Disney World needs some help in some place, and the Animal Kingdom is getting help right now.
Yeah,
but
it sounds like Hollywood Studios.
Well, hopefully they're closing on so much that they're doing something. It's pretty. While it's rumor, it's pretty much people feel like
they wouldn't close it and keep these things.
Something's
closed.
Something's happening.
And a name change potentially.
Yeah, I think that's almost definite, isn't it? I don't think that's going to happen, but yes, it's
because it's never flowed. It's never worked for people.
Yeah. Well, it used to be a working studio. A long time ago when it opened, it was actually a working studio.
They made Brother Bear there, I think.
That Disney classic.
It's
many
on
like
Netflix.
It.
It's streaming on Netflix. AKA, didn't do well. That's my barometer for if a film is good or not, if it streams on Netflix.
Right. So, but I think we're both very excited to see what they do. The downside is we're going to have to wait probably 3 or 4 years or longer to see any real significant change there. So,
it'll be.
That's the downside to all this, but
it's exciting. I'm excited that the park's gonna have new life. It sounds like that's a lot of closures. It's like a significant portion of the park.
It's like a third of the park, if not more.
There's only
so it's
only a few things left.
As I say, keep Tower of Terror, one of my favorite rides, and Rock and Roller Coaster I love. It's still worth going.
Grommans,
right? And people like Fantasmic there as well. So anyway, so that's our show for the week. That's number one's a wrap. What do you got to say?
Still with us. We hope you are.
Yeah. What do you got to say for yourself, Briers?
I think I've said it all.
All right. So we'll hope you tune in next time, and it's been great talking with your Briers and talking with everybody out there.
Good talking with you.
All right.
Take care, folks. The Disney Click is a Meltdown Presents production, produced by Mason Booker and Terri Lubaroff. Audio engineer, the miracle worker, Mason Booker, with your hosts, Rick and Briers. Don't forget to tweet us at the Disney Click. Use the hashtag Top5DisneyClick to share your own top 5 favorite Disneyland attractions.